ahead. No. All right, it's 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our district mission statement in partnership with the communities. The mission of the Dilworth and Felton School District is to educate individuals in an environment of trust and respect so they become self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners. We have everyone today except for David. He's on and he will join us. We have Mr. Hunstead, Mr. Barnacle, Mr. Wardeen, and Ms. Burkhalka, and Jacobson is here too. Sorry, and our Marcus. All right, I knew I was going to miss somebody. Sorry, guys. All right. First up is to adopt the agenda. This is a motion to adopt. Any changes or corrections?
The only changes and just during my report, I'm just going to say a few thank yous and things at the end.
Do I have a motion? So, motion by Brittany, is there a second?
Yeah.
Second by Troy. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Public comments and rebel recognition. Do we have any public comments tonight? None? Rebel recognition.
Well, I guess maybe I'll just do it right now instead of the thank yous later. So just the teachers are already coming in. There's quite a few staff I've just seen mingling through and taking a look at their room, taking this, that, and everything else. So I just appreciate that's obviously extra time people are putting in. I appreciate that. The other thing I need to say is Tracy and the little kids here this summer, it's just 100 miles an hour. There's just a lot going on. So I want to thank you for all that. Shannon Owak for some repeating has been another great success. Jason and Jesse coming on brand new. Their learning curve is straight up, but they're here all the time. So I just appreciate that because there is a lot of new, and there's a lot of not only new for those two, but there's new programs even for our district with Bob and like that. So I just want to thank them, and then John, just to make sure that whenever they need to turn on their computer and go to Bound and go to whatever else that is working. So just a lot of people working hard this summer, and again, nice to see staff start to get to work. So just want to make sure I clean that up.
One of the rebel recognitions I had too was for everybody working with Bound. I've heard that there was a lot of challenges. However, I've heard that everybody working on that team has worked overtime to try to answer those questions quickly, rapidly, and with as much depth as they are able to do so. And I've heard great feedback, even with the frustrations that they've made it a whole lot easier to try to transition. So.
We are welcoming athletes back today.
Yes, I started.
Yeah, so big thanks to all the coaches for stepping up and welcoming the kids back and go out to our sports.
And now, moving on to 6.1, business manager report.
All right, thanks again for having me. We can just jump right into the summary report. So this is going over July, the month of July, how that progressed, as well as just the board bills for this time. Board bills are pretty limited for this when you get into August because most of the June 30th and July bills, that's what kind of the heavy bills of bills are. August, there's really not much going on because waiting for the school starts and that's when more stuff comes in. So we're pretty light there. But as far as how July revenue versus July bills, You can see in the summary there that we did have a large deficit for July, but that's expected because, most of the revenue that we needed to build up for the summer for, debt payments was received in, in May and June. So then July was gonna be lighter, and also when you end the year and start the new year, they don't send as much of that Gen 8 revenue, the Gen 8 revenue right away, so, this is expected. You can see in the July bills there under, the second column, usually that's for the second board run, but that's actually the debt payments that we paid in July, so that was our 4 bonds that are outstanding, it was all just, interest payments. Then the principal payments along with interest will come in February, so it's just every 6 months. Payroll for the month, that's really light because basically it's teacher payoffs. So we have that just set in stone from when we run those in June, and then, a few staff come in here and there for some staff development, but there's not that much, so, and then the other thing is community ed with athletic kids care. As far as enrollment and what we're looking at compared to the budget, so we budgeted $14.95, and now we're kind of just hold steady until we finalize the budget. But as of, the end of last week, we were sitting about 40 positive from that. We still expect it to change a little bit until school starts because there'll be some students still coming in, maybe some people leaving, so, but we're in a pretty comfortable spot as far as that. Any questions on this?
Just so I can give you guys the update on the enrollment, because with secretaries coming back and the ins and outs and everything, this morning we're at 1530, and by this afternoon there's 3 more in the queue, so we're at 1533. So we're very close to this number. Obviously, it's starting to speed up a little bit. Those are the numbers, so yeah, pretty much kind of right on this is.
There's no other questions on that. We can go to the budget versus actual document, 2-page document. In July, there's really not a lot going on as far as expenditures besides kind of district-wide expenses such as some insurance bills and such. So the percentage and where we're at is kind of, it doesn't say a whole lot right now, but we did pay the insurance, we had some other costs here and there, but overall it's pretty standard what you see. As well as the other funds, there's not much going on. Any questions on that? And I don't really have an update on how June is progressing. I'm still working through audit prep, so waiting on a couple more reports. So maybe that's something we can discuss in September. The auditors do show up mid-September, so I'd like to have them even before they get on site. I'm hoping to have something, have them look at some revenue numbers so that I can do a better understanding when they show up for the audit, how we're looking, but right now it's too early. And then the last page, if you want to go to the construction project status. Really, this is just an update to show that we did receive the $450,000 in settlement funds from GLG, and then it just shows where the U216 is right now. So we're about $920,000. I do expect that to go up a little bit because we have not had payments come out of that, so we expect some of that 450 to be paid back in whatever it is. So, but we haven't received an invoice for that yet. So. And that's kind of just going to hold steady until we figure out what the audit is, and then we'll. So it'll be a couple months before we really decide on how that's going to be.
When do we have to start paying?
Yep, we got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you want to show progress with it. Now that the settlements come through, there's not exactly like a standard on what we need to be doing. But I think what we've done so far that's been really good is we've showed progress each year, even without a settlement. We're making progress with it. And then you can put in the 450 towards it. I mean, we've almost cut it in half in about 2 years with it. So, you know, we could still carry some of that balance into the next couple of years. I don't think there's going to be issues there. And as long as our general fund unassigned balance is above that, then, you know, really we're positive. So.
Yeah, so a great question, Troy, because we spent a lot of time on that today, and we'll spend some time with NDE this morning, as you know, for my weekly update, talking about that fund transfer that we, not done with that fight yet. We didn't hear exactly what we wanted to hear today, but they did open the door for us for some sort of, and so we spent the afternoon digging out some stuff from construction, because trying to keep the integrity of the law for that fund, and things that we dealt with during construction. Now that there's some funds there, the lawsuit's over, we're closing it out. We'd love to be able to make that transfer. So they gave us an option. So I was digging in it today with Marcus, and I went down to the vault, dug out some receipts from 2020, 2021, because I said we were going to get this, we're going to nail it. Anyway. So we share that with them this week. They told us to share that, and then they're going to run it through their system and see what can be reimbursed. What we're going to find, and I sent an email to Polynex today as an example, because in this week kitchen related. Their bills were north of $200,000, so that's what we're going to play with, just in that, because it's nice and simple. And that's what we're going to share with them. And then hopefully, it was a great meeting today. They understand their situation. Their lawyers have instructed based on the laws that this is way or why they're not allowing. I think COVID was an act of God. They said they didn't feel that, and that was part of the statute of the commissioner allowing it. It has to be an act of God, like a tornado, a hurricane, something crazy that happened that was unforeseen. I said, well, I don't think anybody predicted COVID. And because of COVID, it delayed our project. When it delayed our project, it looked at costs inside of that project were kitchen related, which do qualify. Anyway, they weren't drinking all my Kool-Aid, so we still got some work to do. And we're going to keep fighting for it. So that is something that, again, okay, there's 200, and hopefully we're going to bring this down. We have some extended day conversations we've had in the past. We know what that is, so that's going to help us a little bit. End of the year, how do we close out? After our meeting today, and then sitting with Marcus too, and just kind of breaking down this number, I think we're going to get it down to a manageable number that in the next couple of years we can, yeah, it'll be paid off. We have a plan on how we can, but it's a great question because that's where I was at this today too. So we're still fighting, I guess is what I'll say.
I would say 2026, when I'm looking at everything, is progressing well as far as what I've seen. I go through the revenue numbers and the reports that are coming in. So, but it's a little too early to say anything. So we really have confidence looking at it.
Any other questions for Marcus? Thank you.
Thank you.
6.2 technology report.
I believe I left a hard copy for everyone, but if I miss somebody, my apologies. I have some extras up here that's needed, but tonight I really just want to cover 3 quick items. Highway overview with summer projects, AI, and I'll just call it grants, funding, so finances. Summer projects, as of today, we are at 91% completed. Last spring, I think we were going to around have 20 projects. We actually creeped towards 30. Some things just kind of fell on us this summer. But a big one was our server upgrade. VMware, company owned by Broadcom, it was transitioning, getting out the small business sector. A lot of schools, a lot of businesses are essentially have to pay higher license with Broadcom VMware for their transition to another platform, transition to Microsoft. It was a good time because our hardware refresh was scheduled for that. So new hardware, new license model, we spent the summer updating our servers. And it's not exciting, but it's on a platform that's going to be able to support up up through 2034. That's our doors, our HVACs, our printing. So it's people come and go, myself included. We are set long-term for the district. We have a platform that supported up through 2034. So that's a win in my book. Another example is 702 is our internet service provider. They switched companies that provide our phone services, specifically it's called SIP and VIDs. And users didn't even realize there was a change in background, but it's a lot of time on my part, my team's part, on dial 911. It's more E911 on where that is in the room of the locations. That's up to date. This is with that, so it's just after the start of the school year and updated records. But those are two good examples of maybe a few summer projects that are busy with from some infrastructure stuff. The other project that we ran into a snag was the deployment of our student Chromebooks. DGF schools and Moorhead schools actually ordered this equipment earlier than what we normally do because of multiple reasons. Price increases was a big one, but both districts learned a few weeks ago that our delay, our order was delayed possibly until December. So we are pivoting, saying, all right, high school kids, you're going to continue to have that equipment until December. Our 5th grade team, we repurposed some of that hardware to other areas. I got to credit to both my guys. They knocked it out. We got more Chromebooks, more spare Chromebooks. So it's like we don't need to create a lot of work, do it multiple times. But the reality is, we need to have some equipment ready for our 5th grade teachers and our team to do it. It's going to look a little different, but sending to that team tomorrow to might catch up with some other tasks. So again, high overview of some of the summer projects. AI integration, as before, the goal with AI is not to use AI to support enhanced education, improve efficiencies within the organization, nothing more, nothing less. We lead with Google Gemini. We've had some training sessions, admin session in the summer. We have and we will continue with the department at grade level sessions on best practices. Assuming tonight we get approved policy 625, it's nice to have a board approved policy on that. I think that will reduce some anxiety for some staff, but it's also a policy trying to have those honest conversations with them. What gets communicated in the classroom, having those expectations with students, that's the most important piece. How AI gets used in elementary is we do block currently ChatGPT at the elementary and the middle school to help with some of that classroom management. It's on the DGF accounts, on the DGF devices, so if we have a personal account, so they can access it. But that's another good example of just having some good discussion of what's working, what's not. But yet, again, most schools are still available for the right reasons. The last item I had was just an FYI on some of the funding. Currently, we process about 15,000 in E-rate and Minnesota Telecom. With the state budget challenges moving forward, they have come out and said after this year, the Minnesota Telecom Equity is no longer available for K-12 schools. What that funding means, if DGF spends, I'll say 20,000 a year in internet, wide area network costs, E-rate, for simplicity, covers half of it. Minnesota would say, hey, Minnesota K-12 schools will help subsidize that remaining balance to help offset the cost of wide area network costs. So we have one more year out of that after this year. It's not safe. So unfortunate, but that's something we'll just have to plan to do. MDE had a second round of cybersecurity facility grants, and I found out last week that we were awarded that, so that's $26,000. And while that's earmarked funds, we're able to use those server expenses because that's tied into our HVAC, that's tied into our doors, our security, those qualify. So that was kill two birds with one stone. So that was a nice win. Some more examples of just efficiencies. We are sharing devices at our elementary. That alone would save us probably close to 50,000 annually on not having to buy the hardware. And we're actually going to be leading with non-touch devices, the Ride versus the touch. Last year we had conversations with staff. there any educational needs where you need to touch, where you met with different areas and different departments? Nope. My gut tells me fine, but my gut also tells me there's gonna be some surprise, like what? They don't have veterans? No. We'll figure it out, but it's open dialogue. So I encourage. That is a vast and furious overview, and I just thought I'd see if there were any questions, thoughts, or concerns.
Now, this might be self-explanatory if I'm not reading this right, but these are our servers here, or is that, are we on the servers outside?
We're like a lot of organizations, we're hybrid. So we have stuff a lot in the cloud. So our email drive, a big part of that is in the cloud, and we just very aggressive pricing because we do such a spike market share in the education industry. But there's a lot of solutions that just aren't web ready, and some require some on-premise, our doors, our HVACs, to local printers. So it's our on-premise is less and less each year, but we're not going to transition to a cloud base until it's ready. And this is probably the frugal side of me. I look at the total cost of ownership. So someone will say, hey, you got a web-based HVAC system. May or may not work depending on doctor schools, or they charge an annual subscription. So usually after around year 5, you spend more money on that cloud-based solution than some on-premise, but that's the case by cases. So, good question.
And then 15,000 we're getting from aid every year. Is that about the same number every year? 1,500, or does it vary each year?
It varies each year. So the internet-related and wide area network costs, they stay the same. They're in a multi-year contract, and there's already a process, very static. But this summer we had a firewall that was due to be replaced. That expense is E-rate. If I gotta take the time to do that, I'll utilize E-rate dollars for those, but that's not year to year. That might be once every 4 years, once every 5 years. Switches are E-rateable. Our wireless access point, those are E-rateable. So those are usually big ticket projects for the E-rate to subsidize anywhere from 50 to 70%. I probably have one. I have one conversation with the vendors. They need to play the E-rate game, because if we didn't have E-rate, we wouldn't have the money to do that.
And when you say ChatGPT is available on people's personal devices, but obviously are locked in ours, we haven't changed, maybe it's more for Shannon, our ability for kids in the elementary and middle school specifically are not supposed to be carrying their cell phones, correct? So that would be just access at home or in off-school hours, because they shouldn't have access to those devices in the classrooms.
Yeah, unless they're on their Chromebook and they can, so the question would be, so I'm on my school Chromebook, I shouldn't access or be able to access it all. You're right, with the other devices, they're not supposed to be. Could they log in onto their account on our Chromebook? They can't do that, or they can't?
If they're on a DGF device with a DGF account, they'll be limited to Google Gemini for AI or ChatGPT and other platforms. That is blocked. It's worth noting. That helps, I'll say, in the classroom management piece, but the kids are using all these tools regardless. It's just trying to keep some parameters on.
Teach them to use it responsibly.
That, and also with Gemini, with our data privacy in part, we had a good admin session on it. And people are like, they get personal on their AI platform. I prefer ChatGPT, I prefer Copilot. All right, they all do a lot of similarities. But for me personally, if we have employees who are using the tools, we have a gym that had DDF student MCA scores, our fast rich, and we pull it all together. We have a lot of internal reporting. It doesn't cost us anything. That's sensitive data. We need to be using Gemini for that, because that's not part of a public large language model. If an employee wants to use ChatGPT to make a cool, fun picture, sure, go for it. But really try and instill and educate the masses. There are, especially with this policy, we have to be aware of what we're sharing, and it's easy to be almost too, maybe a little complacent. I want to draft an email and the parent, don't you be using ChatGPT for that? It's a Gemini share. So Gemini has those guardrails. So that's a moving parts, but there's good examples of why we do that.
Awesome. Any other questions? Mr.
All right, we're good.
All right, 6.3, buildings and grounds report.
I think you guys all copy it, so fairly pages.
Jason,
How you guys all doing?
good, how are you?
So this is just a few items, kind of like what, with Jay did, just, it's kind of some low hanging fruit, what we got going on right now, from a building grounds, standpoint. On the maintenance side of things, kind of out there, we're just getting things buttoned up on the outside, getting everything ready for the fields, on the fields for activities and whatnot starting up here soon, so that's going, really pretty much ready, from that standpoint, so we're good to go there, outside, make a few lines once we get there. Constant mowing, thank the weather gods. Mowing and trimming has been a little bit late, thank goodness, because we've got some time to do some other things, but we do need some rain, so, but that's always going on, always trying to touch those spaces up. And then, we've got an old shed that we're gonna repurpose and move over to South Lawn Heights, because they could use some more storage over there, and it's not currently being used, so we're gonna move that from high school on by the practice field to softball complex to be used, so that's a good thing. HVAC, always a challenge. We just completed filter changes. The guys did a great job on that. It's about 465 filters on all the units we have within these two buildings. So that was exciting to get that done. All RTUs, meaning everything that's on top of the building or interior units, we've gone through all those, everything that has AC capability and cooling in it, they've all been, the coils have been cleaned. We've gone through and cleaned out all the cabinets, vacuum, all sorts of warm out, things like that. As well as the cabinets that don't have AC. Everything sitting on the building and hanging inside the building has been cleaned out last month. So that's been a really good thing. Things seem to be working a little bit better. Obviously not perfect. We do have multiple leaks. I'm just going to call it that. Multiple leaks in the system. So we're currently working on those. There's about 23 glycol leaks currently. Most of this building, but all those are going to be wrapped up here by the end of the week. Some of that stuff we can do, some of that stuff we have to obviously get help with, but so that's a good thing. So we're working hard to get that stuff done. Again, all those will be finished up and done. And then we've kind of been doing a little bit of emphasis on some fixture inventory, looking at all fixtures. And what I mean by fixtures, I'm just talking plumbing, electrical, lighting, things like that are super important to be successful in course. Looking at all those things, getting all those things buttoned up, making sure everything is running efficiently as it should. We had some extra lights from previous construction projects that we had on hand. So we took those out of stock, got those installed, better lighting for multiple rooms within here and over here. So that's helpful. So just kind of looking at those things, making sure that we're ready to go when 1,530 degree students are building.
Yeah, well said.
And a load of teachers. So on the facility side, really, again, low hanging fruit, summer cleaning and sanitizing. That's what the crew's been doing. They have just been cranking away every single day, cleaning everything. Right now, both buildings are kind of just down to the last fine tuning. Actually, the group here, they'll work a little bit ahead of schedule, so we're doing something that I don't know when it's been done last. We're actually waxing the older gym. I get the name, local. Thank you. The local gym, the tile area. I don't know the last time that's been waxed. And we're using it as a training to get the other staff that haven't ever done any waxing. So they were all in stripping today, and it was kind of fun to watch them all using the smart scrub and getting bounced around. It's pretty exciting.
That's a lot harder than it looks.
It is. So anyways, that's been getting done. So that's going to look good. So that gym will look as good as it has in a while. And then just again, all common areas. They're just kind of wrapping some things up. Next week will be the week to go through and just kind of get the entire building once over again, do things like cleaning lights in the hallways, finish dusting diffusers and things like that. So just trying to touch up. We had those two projects that we talked about earlier. Both those rooms are done and finished up now, so everything's good there. And then we're just working on, as a team, we're working on realignment of our building sections. So everybody's got, is equal amount of work as possible at nights, because they will be going back to the night shift here in 1 week and a half. Right, of course, those are. So just realigning those things, making sure all those sections are equal. People are doing no more than or less, to the best of our ability. And then as well as it should create some efficiencies for setting up activities, events and things like that, and also tear down. So all that stuff is exciting. Minor changes there, and probably the thing that I'm most excited about is that last bullet point. we're fully staffed. We haven't had that, since the short time that I've been here, but, we're fully staffed at both campuses. Maintenance guys are in good shape, so we're ready to go. Good questions?
Right, students, who are looking, sorry, ones, are there still students that are participating?
Nope.
No, is that nothing that is going to be considered forward?
I like the group we have, so I don't know, that the student thing was before my time, so I'm not exactly really, not sure we did that. Currently, right now, we have, no students, fully staffed.
I'm not sure if this is.
It's all
The
fire.
solar panels are running. What is that looking like for us as far as like decreased energy cost? Do we see any of that yet, or does it take a while, like?
It's gonna, I think, so I haven't sat down because it's been a long time. I know it's all up and running. I know there's a lot more storage, I think, in it.
Okay.
Then, did you have a chance to talk to him now at the end? And I haven't.
I did.
What's that?
Not as far as amounts and where we're gonna see that. The system's gotta run for a while before we're gonna start to see the gains we have. It's absolutely catching power. People all look at the dashboard, and on those machines, it's absolutely grabbing power. I don't know how that affects us or where that actually affects us. I think there's gonna be more of a trend in Mirage. Last week, I had to reset the system because it wasn't quite programmed correctly, so they sent somebody out. They did walk me through how to do it. We did that, got it back up and running. Because we want to run 24/7.
The one thing I did, so when finally that hooked up, life is great. I talked to Rich, who is the vice president, I think I set it off with. I just said, at some point, I want you to sit down and show me exactly where I stand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too, because is that essentially gonna become a credit towards our, or is that not how that's gonna work?
Well, I believe it's a little bit like, or a lot like our solar fields out on Highway 9. And we're a part of that project, and that's why we couldn't qualify for this solar panel project on the building, because that's tied to those solar fields, and we already had an agreement for something there. So the thresholds for allowing us funds for this in addition to that weren't available. And that we're supposed to be slowly getting a credit, and I haven't completely been sold on the whole thing with the solar fields,
Yep.
but I just said, Rich, I'm gonna reach out to you after you've had it for a while. And so hopefully at that point we can get a report for you guys too. Really like to see what that is.
Yeah, and we can look at it above where we're at, we can look at a dashboard and see that we are storing, we are generating. However, I don't have, when it comes to that.
Well, like I always said too, where is it going?
Right.
Okay, store where, it's not like we have batteries, a room full of, so I don't know if Excel holds it in their back pocket and then they really, I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge about it, I guess. So, I just want to say too, the one thing, we have these bundle leaks, right? And Jason and I talked a lot about that. It's like, why is this happening? And so we've already had some conversations about, they turn the pumps off. When you turn a pump off, yes, the boilers are down, but you can still circulate the glycol with the pumps on. Pump keep everything moist, but when you shut them off, things are shrinking, actually start to dry out. That's what it sounds like anyway. That's been a major reason why we've had all this. So it doesn't cost much to keep the pumps running. Next summer, that's something we're gonna continue to do, and hopefully that, knock on plastic, but hopefully that is something that will alleviate some of this glycol issue.
And it's really good to keep the glycol moving. If it sits in place and doesn't move, it gets stagnant, it starts to, loses its efficacy, I guess you could say. So just keeping it moving keeps it more fresh. It lasts longer, things like that. It's one of those things you don't use it, lose type of thing, so you definitely want to keep it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 6.4, board committee reports. First, we have budget. You were ready.
So you wanna go?
No. I knew you'd have better notes.
Just a couple things. I mean, it's been almost 2 months or over 2 months ago that we talked about some of this stuff. So, I'll kind of go through, one of the things we talked about was enrollment. At that time, we were looking at a budget of 1,495 students. At that time, we were at 1,522. So it's good to see that we're 11 students, ahead right now. We talked about some of the districts projecting some state funding, decrease for 27 over this current, over last year, 26. We talked about our budget, of not knowing exactly how many students. Now we go back to June of how many students we actually gonna have. So the budget is somewhat conservative to make sure that we're not overstating anything. So we talked much about that. That was the biggest area. Looking at it, I mean, the more students we get, each student is worth so much in our budget. So the more students we get, the better. Even at that, I think even at our numbers, if I rate, we'll still be slightly short.
Yeah, well, the only thing I was gonna add, I'm sorry, was that it's the June, so it's super preliminary. Even the state hasn't given us at that point what it's gonna actually be. So we kind of have to base it off the, years past. So, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, we did talk slightly about before we had voted on the referendum, we talked about what that could do, how that's gonna affect our budget and what we needed there, so.
But then it was again, very high level.
Very high level, and then we got to the June, or July. Yeah.
All right, any questions? No? All right, next was policies. And we're gonna cover those, tonight. With our policies, we read over a bunch of them. There wasn't a lot, Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, there wasn't a lot of content changes with the exception of our AI policy, which is what we really dove into and dug into the nitty gritty of that and asked John Jacobson a bunch of questions and dialed in a few of those things, which he's communicated some of those adult changes and adjustments going forward that he's worked with other people working in technology in the schools across the state.
And I think we just made some minor adjustments due to how we take money at games and fundraisers and things like that. So we will do the second reading of those today.
And I'm sorry, on our out-of-state tuition, and we don't have any Dakota students right now, but for the high school, that just goes with the formula rate from the state, and then as the high schoolers, of course, worth 1.2. So that number, if we were going to have a North Dakota student come over and join us, their tuition would be $9,219.60. All that is it's taking the new formula of 776.83 times the 1.2. Okay. We don't again have anybody currently, but we have in the past. So that was on policy 509. Sorry, 509. That was right. So I just wanted to make sure that was something I think at the policy committee I didn't have that number for you. So, okay.
All right, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, moving on to 6.5, superintendent report.
Okay, yeah, first thing, and I shared a lot of this with you guys in the weekly update when I had the NDMASA Fall Back to School Conference, August 4th in August was. I shared with you guys that Dr. James Densley is he's a co-founder of the Violence Prevention Project. I just did a ton of research and I believe I shared the book with you guys too. He's just done a ton of research, school violence and school shootings across the nation. He's interviewed families of both sides, the victims and the person with the crime. It's just, it's a lot of information. But I guess at the end of the day, it really comes down to, not to oversimplify, because there's a lot of factors, obviously, but is how important it is for school personnel and staff to connect with kids. And so kids know their value, they matter, they're important, doesn't matter what they're involved in, not involved in, they matter. So that connection with staff was very evident in his presentation as he shared how much of an impact that was, or wasn't, right, for an individual. And so that was the big takeaway from that. Obviously, I had other school finance sessions I went to. One of the other ones was about flexible pathways for high school students and how to get their credits, online school, other opportunities for them, I guess, work-related or work-release. So we're looking at a lot of those things and how we can meet the needs of the students and so meet the needs or the requirements of the student. So that was important to go to that one. And then obviously the legislative platform of what's coming up in the next session. A lot of it is be affected by the election, right? So who's the governor, who are the senators, who are the state reps? I mean, there's just going to be a lot of change there. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this budget session and the legislative session, which will be faces what happens. So that was another big topic of conversation. The next on MRE, so I went to that conference. It was the 4 disciplines of execution for administrators. It's a Franklin County leadership program that I went to. A lot about setting goals and follow through and being consistent and working through those. So just been trying to figure out how that might best fit with us, with our strategic plan, and goals and priorities for the year. Did share a little bit with the admin team about that. We did more conversations. It's a lot, and the timing was not perfect because they have also have a lot of other plates right now, and it wasn't the time to bring all that up. So, but I have it, and I have the booklet, and studying something we're going to definitely dig into. So that was those two, both very informative, very good, but yeah, a little deep on James Densley's conversations. It was interesting. Next I have, it was the permanent fund transfer. I'm sorry, I gotta get this was my notes earlier. Fund transfer, Fund 2. Just talked about that briefly. About we're going to do some more work. I have some receipts from Comex that we'll be sharing with the state here later this week, and hopefully they agree that hey, okay, now that 200,000 can shift to Fund 1, yeah, Fund 6. We'll see. Some more to come on that later. Community meeting, we did send out, I think I sent this to in your weekly update. We're going to shoot for September 30th. It's a Wednesday. We'll do it at the theater. Just thought the timing gives plenty time for people because not online voting, the early voting, I think is the week before that, like 18th is ringing a bell in my head. It's in September there, yeah. And so we thought we just need to have something set so people aren't sure they were looking at this meeting and it's not waiting too long. Do that. And then we can get other people informed, and if we feel like after that meeting, wow, it'd be important to have another one in October, we could schedule that if we felt we needed it. So that's the public meeting. Still want to go and hook up with the cities, firemen, and other community groups. So we're going to start setting those schedules here as we get into September, October. So don't miss that. So on those opportunities to visit with them. I should say too, administrators are signing up, principals and directors. I talked to the school staff about being in games too, so the teachers union, and met with them, and just talking with them through our potentially being in volleyball games or football games. I also have a sign-up sheet here, and I'll share it with you guys tomorrow. Brooke shared with you guys tomorrow, so if you guys want to sign up too, stand with us. We got the flyers, and I think we put the flyer in your packet tonight. That's the new flyer, so we can just be at these activities if you sign up. Stand beside staff or administrators. When I met with the staff, I said, I just want to make sure that people know that we're in it together. And we're standing alongside our staff standing alongside our school board members, administrators, that we're all in this. And we all made it. So, okay. So that's an opportunity, and we'll share that with you guys tomorrow. Next thing is permanent fund transfer. This is the thing I'm going to pop it on the screen. So I'm going to log in quick. It's just to show and explain what this permanent trust fund in the state of Minnesota that people need to vote on in November. So while I go log in quick right here, if you guys, it'll just be easier if you hop over there. The one thing we're gonna be doing is we're gonna add this to the school website tomorrow. So if people are watching tonight, they go, I can't hardly hear it, I can't see it. You can just click on it tomorrow on our website, and you can just watch the short video that explains it. It's easier if I do it this way than if I try to explain it to everybody. So if everything is on. Just visit amongst yourselves. Should be popping up there. Is that interesting? That's better.
Did you know that every Minnesota public school student is part of a public school trust? More than 168 years ago, when Minnesota became a state, lands were set aside to create a permanent trust dedicated to one purpose: supporting public education for generations of Minnesota students. Today, that promise continues through Minnesota's Permanent School Fund. Revenue generated from school trust lands is invested, creating a permanent financial resource that helps support public school districts, charter schools, and tribal schools throughout Minnesota. Over time, careful management has helped the Permanent School Fund grow to more than $2.3 billion. This growth has prompted a discussion about how annual distributions from the fund should be calculated. This November, Minnesota voters will be asked to consider a constitutional amendment to update how annual distributions from the existing fund are calculated. The proposal does not create a new fund. It does not change the purpose of the trust, and it does not raise income or property taxes. Recommended from a nonpartisan task force and with strong bipartisan support from the Minnesota legislature, the proposed amendment reflects modern trust and endowment management practices and will increase distributions to schools while maintaining the fund for future generations. Learn more about Minnesota's Permanent School Fund and this fall's constitutional amendment at minnesotapsfamendment.org.
You guys can come back and have a seat. The biggest thing and the reason we need to keep talking about this and have it on our website, when I do my referendum public meeting, it's going to be a slideshow there too, the time, because it's a separate ballot question. Per the law, they have to do it, so legislators pass it. If you don't mark yes or no, it's a no. So it's very important that people check the box. There's no tax impact, it's just how, so the fund now can give more money because there is 2.3 billion. For us in our district, it's gonna give us, based on everything I've read, about $28 a student. So it's not like we're all gonna get rich, but it's a simple $28, it's another $40,000, right? So you can say, oh, it pays for a paraprofessional, yeah, and we wouldn't have that money. So just, it's an easy check. But people, it's gonna be, here's most likely, this is the way I'm understanding it, when, you know, you have judges and treasurers of the county and all this stuff, some people go, yeah, whatever, they just don't vote on that stuff. And it's gonna be there, and our question will be there too for our referendum. So most likely, the way I'm understanding it, is the ballot might have all those judges and treasurers and whatever, and then it'll have our question, and then this one. And we just gotta inform people, hey, you need to vote on that too, just check the yes, just check the yes. We'll see, and that's the biggest fear from all the school associations, the MSBA's, the MAS's, is that people just won't vote, then it's a no. And that might sway, you know. It's not so much that people voted no, they just didn't vote or check the box, right? So that's a fear. So we just want to make sure, hey, here it is, watch it. This is what the legislators, the Republicans and Democrats both supported it. It's not like it's a partisan thing, it's not. So Anyway, just wanted to make sure that is out there. We'll get it on our website too, and we'll just keep talking to people just so they have information.
A question on that, and this is a question, like if you request an absentee ballot, and then you don't send the ballot back. Is that a no vote, or is that like they didn't turn it in, so it's not a yes vote?
Sounds like a county question. I don't know that.
I don't know.
Brooke, do you know in all your judge training last year? Does that?
Is it, yeah, okay.
I think they have to receive something.
They have to receive something.
I would think.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I believe you can request an absentee ballot, but then vote in person, so that you don't get double counts.
You don't get to vote twice.
Correct.
I got you. Sure.
Makes sense.
Also,
Glad we could help.
You got the answer.
So, yeah, that's, what I have. The thank yous, I guess we're kind of already covered that, so, yeah.
any questions for Sean?
Do we, with the referendum, do we have a website?
Yep, so you can go to it now. We're gonna add it to the school website tomorrow. So the link is there.
Okay, I guess I'm looking at the.
Yep, yep, yep. It's not on our website. We just went through it last week. We kind of updated it. It's all done. And so right now, if anybody listening just went, well, I'm gonna go to Rally with the Rebels, but you could go right now and it would take you to the update. It's just not linked on our website. It will be tomorrow. That's one of the things that we talked about today. After this board meeting today, we're gonna make sure it gets up. The flyers got done. We just got them. The mailer, we had one little tweak we had to do, and then that'll get shipped out maybe tomorrow. Yeah. So, because that's in September. I think I shared that too in the weekly update.
When, we should add a QR when we post tables, like a QR code, a giant QR code to the tables, easiest access.
I believe that's on our website, or it's somewhere. This one didn't have it. Did it take you to the website? No. Okay.
We could also play the QR code on the screens that we have around the building, during games and
Yep.
things, because then people could get additional information.
Yep.
Or check at it, or
And then I don't know how much funding we have, but it would also be to get posters on doors. Something similar to this one side of the QR code that says, hey,
Yeah, and then bring you to the website to again.
yeah,
So that's cool, mate. I'm gonna have my new presentation. I'm not gonna stand there because it was kind of awkward last year, I think, for people too. I mean, they're coming here back to school and it's like, oh, nothing. And we'll have the brochures and things out there, be around, but I'm not gonna just, because it just seemed,
you did take a lot of really nice pictures for people.
that's true, I did.
Yes, you did.
I was doing something, I just, yeah, anyway, that's a good one. So anyway, and that'll be out as well, and then the QR code, yeah, that's great. Good.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, moving on to 7.1 is to approve the regular meeting on July 20, 2026. Do I have a motion? So, motion by Troy, second by Angela. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. On to 8.1, claims and accounts. To approve the bills for July 2026 in the amount of.
Yeah, right there.
okay, $133,326.82.
And the bills for August in the amount.
Ready?
Yep.
$111,910.92.
Voice
Okay.
is correct.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, this is the one that they ran earlier, so I don't know that this is July.
It was supposed to be July checks that we did on Monday.
So that's the third, so that was right.
So this
Okay,
one was
just
right,
making sure.
okay.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks. Also to approve and file for audit the treasurer's monthly budget report. And then to approve the resignation of McKenna Kleist, paraprofessional, effective July 20th, 2026. To approve the resignation of Sarah Halseth, paraprofessional, effective July 21st, 2026. The resignation of Angel Ockery, middle school counselor, effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. To approve the resignation of Mary Mahar, social worker, effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. Approving the resignation of Tom Johnson, paraprofessional, effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. Approve the resignation of Tucker Regnar, the high school teacher, effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. Approve the resignation of Grant Munson, paraprofessional, and effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. Approve the resignation of Victoria Fisher, community education administrative assistant, effective August 14th, 2026. Approve the resignation of Nikki Eck, payroll assistant, effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. Approve the resignation of Sarah Daniels, paraprofessional, and effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. And approve the resignation of Jessica Bruns, interpreter, effective the end of the 2025-2026 school year. Is there a motion?
So,
Motion by Brittany, is there a second? Second by Laura. Any questions or discussions?
Mary Mahar was here for a number of years, just want to thank her. Angel Ockery, those were here for a number of years. I just want to say thank you to them. Jess Brown, there's
Nikki Eck, yeah.
Nikki, yeah, and just thank you for what they did provide and wish them nothing but the best.
And we wish you well in the next chapter.
Yes.
Do we say that Jessica would
Yeah, so that just happened, and so she told us she would help us until somebody was,
are we hiring or is it through that?
we're hiring that position.
We need a
This I
full-time
know.
person.
We do. Yep. We are, yeah, so we talked about that in the personnel committee meeting, before this meeting, but I talked about how we're gonna do that. Yep. And that will be our position.
Any other questions or discussion? Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion, or all those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 9.1, this is to approve the extra board bill run for the FY27 bills on August 27th.
So,
Motion by Brittany, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Angela. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.2, this is to approve the first and only reading of the following policies. 208, development, adoption, and implementation of policies. 402, disability, non-discrimination. 423, employee-student relationships. 506, student discipline. 507.5, school resource officers. 509, enrollment of non-resident students. 509.1, out-of-state tuition. 509.2, open enrollment lottery process. 521, student disability non-discrimination. 524, internet acceptable use. 613, graduation requirements. 621, literacy and read act. 709, student transportation safety. 721, procurement policies. 722, public data requests, and 806, crisis management. Do I have a motion?
So,
Motion by Laura, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Angela. Any question or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. 9.3, this is to approve the second reading of the following policies. 511.1, fundraisers, fundraiser form. 625, responsible use of artificial intelligence. 904, distribution of materials on school property by non-school persons. 904, distribution of materials on school properties by non-school persons form. 905, advertising. 905.5, concessions. 905.5, concessions cash box reconciliation form. 906, community notification of predatory offenders. And 907, reports. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela, is there a second? Second by Troy. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.4 is to approve the DGF elementary, DGF middle school, and DGF high school coaches and employee handbooks. Do I have a motion? Motion by Troy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. This is a resolution to approve, the resolution relating to the election of school board members and calling on school district general election. All right, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 2164 as follows. It is necessary for the school district to hold its general election for the purpose of electing 3 school board members for a term of 4 years. The following individuals have filed affidavits of candidacy for said election during the period established for filing such affidavits. Jeremy Yost, Micah Farine, Travis Jensen, and Daniel Lloyd. The combination or the combined general election is hereby called and directed to be held on Tuesday, the 3rd day of November, 2026, between the hours of 7 o'clock a.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. in all precincts except the townships of Morgan and Spring Prairie. They have established hours from 10 o'clock a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. and in conjunction with other statewide elections. Pursuant to Minnesota statutes, Section 205A.11, the school district's voting precincts and polling places for school elections held on the day of a combined statewide election will be those precincts established and designated by the city and township clerks of which the school district is located and on file in the office of the superintendent are hereby designated for said general election. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause written notice of said combined general election to be provided to the county auditor of each county in which the school district is located in whole or in part at least 45 days before this date of said election. The notice shall include the date of said election and the office or offices to be voted on at said election. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause notice of said combined general election to be posted at the administrative offices of the school district and at each polling place at least 10 days before the date of said election. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause a sample ballot to be posted at the administrative offices of the school board or school district at least 4 days before the date of said combined general election and to cause a sample ballot to be posted in each polling place on election day. The sample ballot shall not be printed on the same color paper as the official ballot. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause notice of said combined general election to be published in the official newspaper of the district for 2 consecutive weeks, with the last publication being at least 1 week before the date of said election. The notice of combined general election so posted and published shall state the offices to be filled and shall include information concerning each established precinct and polling place. The clerk is authorized and directed to secure all necessary optical scan materials and equipment necessary to properly conduct this combined general election according to Minnesota statutes. The clerk is further authorized and directed to provide accurate information to the county auditor for the preparation of optical scan ballots for this combined general election. The state of individuals as designated by resolution of the city councils and township clerks and on file in the office of the superintendent, each of whom is qualified to serve as an election judge, are hereby appointed as judges of the combined general election to act as such at the respective polling places for the respective precincts. The election judges shall act as clerks of election, count the ballots cast, and submit them to the school board for canvass in the manner provided for all other combined general elections. All right, any questions or discussions on that? Being a resolution, it's over by roll call. Laura? Aye. Troy?
Aye.
Aye. Brittany?
Aye.
Mike? Angela?
Aye.
Motion. What was that? Oh, sorry. Brittany's got a motion. Knew I was gonna mess that up. Who's got a second? Second by Laura. All right, we'll try that again. Laura? Troy?
Aye.
Aye. Brittany? Aye. Mike? Angela?
Aye.
It's double. Thank you, Brooke.
Yeah.
I even made a note, just for the record, and I still messed it up. All right, 9.6, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Hallie Schumer, paraprofessional class 2, step 7, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Laura, second by Brittany.
Yeah.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.7, to approve the non-certified contract for Faith Johnson, paraprofessional, class 2, step 5, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Troy, Angela second. Yeah, you just, but this year's better, one of the two. Getting David in me. Channeling him. All right, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. This is to approve the donations as presented. We have donations from Shields in the amount of $1,000 for summer rec. Donation from Bill Dale for fence screening in the amount of, and in the amount of $1,000, or maybe
It was for $1,000.
for $1,000. That's for the purpose of fence screening. For the football field bleacher, cool, that's good. And then also from Jason Baumgartner and Dallas Lichtenberg, in the amount of $700 for a military appreciation night t-shirts, home varsity event of the week, September 22nd, volleyball game September 24th, and football game 25th.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Do I have a motion? Motion by Brittany, is there a second? Second by Troy. Any questions or discussion? Just thank you, everybody, for your donations. It's always wonderful to see the continued support of our community. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
It's a resolution.
Resolution. See it, did it again. All right, Laura. Troy.
Aye.
Nicole, aye.
Aye.
Brittany. Micah. Angela. Motion passes. All right, 9.9, to approve the non-certified contract for Alyssa Wallenberg, custodian, class 2, step 6, effective July 27th, 2026. Do I have a motion? Motion by Micah, is there a second? Second. Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. To 9.10, to approve the non-certified contract for Jarrett Isa, paraprofessional, class 2, step 10, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Is there a motion? Motion by Mike, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. I apologize if I screwed your name up. Or is there any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.11, to approve the non-certified contract for Andrea Anderson, special education administrative assistant, class 3, step 8, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Troy, is there a second? Second. Second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion?
Nope, this is the one that Katie Judd stepped down from last month,
okay.
and so this is a replacement.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.12, to approve the non-certified contract for Autumn DeGelder. Again, I apologize, I'm terrible with names. Paraprofessional, class 2, step 2, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Laura, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Angela. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.13, to approve the non-certified contract for Shayna Anderson, paraprofessional, class 2, step 1, effective the start of the 2026-27 school year. Do I have a motion? So, motion by Brittany.
Second.
Troy is the second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.14, to approve the non-certified contract for Irma Gonzalez, custodian, step 2, class 1, effective August 5th, 2026. Do I have a motion? Motion by Brittany, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Troy. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.15 to approve the non-certified contract for Brianna Thompson, paraprofessional class 2, step 3, effective the start of the 2026-27 school year, right?
Yes,
All right,
should be 26, 27.
sorry, that was like,
Good
a little
catch.
retroactive, but it's okay. Do I have a motion?
So
Motion by Angela, is there a second? Second. Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.16 to approve the non-certified contract for Ruby Woodbury, custodian class 2, step 3, effective August 10th, 2026. Do I have a motion? No. Motion by Troy, a second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.17, approve the contract, certified contract for Micah Overton High School A BA Step 1, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. I'm struggling on my own here, Brooke. Do I have a motion? Motion by Brittany, is there a second? Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion?
Do we have a middle school, and teacher still? That role filled, or is
No,
this be the
no.
only one now?
This would be the one we have, because we shifted Carrie Westgard into that elective. So she's taking, when Tucker's job last year, Carrie is taking that as an elective. It's gonna be different. It's not the same, it's not ag. And then when Tucker stepped down and accepted a different position, then this person's gonna replace him. So we'll just have the one ag teacher. Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.18, this is to approve the list of fundraisers to date as presented. So we've got some for football and forward dance team. Motion? Do I have a motion? A motion. Motion by Angela? Is there a second? Second. Second by Brittany. All right.
Yeah, so discussion, so these were, remember, we already approved fundraisers and then the date. We have a new activities director, and so some of these teachers or coaches were waiting to like, hey, they get the reminder from Katie, there was no reminder. So if you remember last time, we went, I know that there's a couple others that didn't happen. So met with Jesse and he said, they came to him and said, hey, can we still do it because we didn't get a reminder and it's over the summer. So I said, let's bring it to the next board meeting, because this is something you guys approved last month.
Yep.
And will always be that way, but now that we have Jesse in place, I think these people get their reminders in the future, we should be able to.
Gotcha, so this is not cumulative. These are only.
These are, and these were, they've done these in the past,
Yeah.
but they weren't done last month like they should have been.
Okay.
Because they were going, oh, we never got the reminder, we gotta get in, and Jesse said, hey, here's a reminder. And so it got to be able to wait it, so that's why. Okay.
Maybe I don't need to actually know this, but what would, can I give an example of what I'm seeing the board do? How the activity account, we can have. Is that something we do the activity account?
Usually is.
Food purchases,
Yeah,
stuff like
because
that,
they-
meals, team
For
meals.
kids, yeah, team meals, yep, yep. Because it's fundraised by the kids, so they can, it's gotta go back.
Any other questions or discussion? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.19, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Caitlin Hettinger, paraprofessional class 2, step 1, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela, is there a second? Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.20, to approve the non-certified contract for Allison Delager, not even close, sorry. Community Education Administrative Assistant, Class 3, Step 10, effective August 17, 2026. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela, is there a second? Second by Troy. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.21, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Tanya Lancome, custodian, Class 2, Step 6, effective September 1st, 2026. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.22, approve the non-certified contract for Marcia Jorgensen, driver, Class 2, Step 5, effective September 1st, 2026. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Troy. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.23 is to approve the certified contract for Michaela Johnson, counselor, MA, Step 2, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Troy.
Second.
Second by Brittany.
Is this the middle school position then?
Yes, this is to replace Angel.
So we're still looking for a social worker, correct?
We are,
That's the only.
yep, and they,
That's the only social worker role?
yep, and they're interviewing Wednesday. They have 6, they had applicants, they're interviewing 6 on Wednesday.
Awesome. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.24 is to approve the non-certified contract for Monica Longoria, paraprofessionals, Class 2, Step 7, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela, is there a second? Second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. 9.25 is to approve the non-certified contract for Peggy Hayes, paraprofessional, Class 2, Step 2, effective the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Laura, second by Angela. Any questions or discussion?
Just, are we still hiring for paras?
So, great question. We had a personnel meeting earlier today, and we still need 2 in the elementary and 2 in high school, but I think all last year we found like we say we needed 2 in the middle. So that is what we have left, and I know they're still working on that. So, that's what they do.
And when we do this here, these are hired under us.
Yep.
And if it ever, like Agassiz,
We
we
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
even see it.
Right.
We would just be like, oh, they have 2 more for us, or they would send 2 to us, or how, would they ever do that, or how does that work?
What do you mean, like send 2 to?
Like, if they hire 2 paras,
Oh, they don't, yeah, we,
they don't hire any paras?
none of them, all
So just
parents are
certified
hired to us,
contracts.
yeah.
Okay,
And it would be certain contracts, like social worker, and because they need other help in other districts. potentially. This person will be totally ours, but it protects us in the future, if we could. Probably happen to us, but we just not, yep, they
so
wouldn't
we
be on
will
our
always
agenda.
have the paraprofessional contracts.
Yep, good question.
Any other questions or discussion? Just a welcome aboard.
Yes, you got anybody join us?
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. 10.1, the next board meeting is Monday, September 14th, 2026, 6 p.m. at, right here, DGF Elementary Media Center. 10.2, our Facilities and Transportation Committee will be meeting following the board meeting on September 14th, 2026. And lastly, this is to adjourn the regular meeting of the Doak Glen School Board. Do I have a motion?
So.
Motion by Troy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes.
Good work. starting to go.
Holy smokes.
My voice was already cracking when I got here. Oh my God, nothing left tomorrow.
How about no more resolutions that are